Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 221, I was very lucky to have Sabrina Chevannes on the podcast. This is a very talented lady indeed. She is a WordPress witch, SEO guru, award-winning author, branding expert, mentor, digital marketer, women's international chess master, and she is a member of Mensa, to say the least of her many skills. We talked about many things today. We talked about the glories of supporting Liverpool FC. We also talked about interesting movie mashup of John McClane and Mufasa the lion. Running through the Takomi Plaza, taking down terrorist scum. We also talked about how she got into chess and basically how she got her book up and running. And we talked about much to do about her agency, Complex Creative. All I've got to say is yes, this is a very smart, fierce, and outstanding young lady. Got to say, did enjoy the conversation, and I look forward to conversations with her in the future. So sit back, enjoy the show, and have a great day. Peace. There we go. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 221, I am privileged to have Sabrina Chevannes. I most probably said this wrong, but my apologies if I did. How can I put it? Now, she is a WordPress witch, a SEO guru, award-winning author, brand expert, mentor, digital marketer, women international chess master, and she is a member of Mensa as well. Okay, is there anything else you might do on the side or anything like that? Sorry, I forgot to put down avid Liverpool fan.
Yeah. That's probably a major portion of my life.
Look, this is the thing. When I was doing my little research, I was and you were like the Saints. I was like, what? Why the Saints? Why the Saints? And it was then I was digged a little bit deeper. I was yes.
I was singing when the Saints came marching in for an hour on the weekend.
Look, don't worry. You're a fellow sister in arms. Look, I am too a Liverpool fan as well.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Never walk alone.
Absolutely. Last time I was in Anfield, oh my God, it's so many years ago. It was the last game I saw in Anfield was Liverpool versus Norwich. Brendan Rodgers' last game in charge.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. So I was it's been a little bit of time, to say the least.
It's such good vibes up there, though. You have to keep going back up. I think it's just one of the best atmospheres ever.
Yeah, I have to ask, when was the last time you were in Anfield?
I went the end of this last season of 2019 season for the Wolves game when I thought we were going to win. Well, I mean, we won, but I thought there was a glimmer of hope that we'd win the league. And for about 30 seconds, when Brighton scored against Man City, I did think we were actually going to win the league. And then I was actually just oh my God, this is actually going to happen. This is actually going to happen. And then I think Aguero, I think, probably knocks one in within 30 seconds later. And I was okay, it's 1-1. It's going to be 5-1. It was 4-1. I was close, but I was game over. And I knew that would happen. And it was, but it was still amazing. We did what we needed to do. I think we won 2-0. That was it. And the atmosphere was amazing. Everyone was sort of going, well done, lads, good season. And no one was pissed off. Everyone was in a great spirit. And I just got to party with the Scousers all weekend. And it was just the best vibes ever, which was so cool. And yeah, I was hoping that I could be there for like a parade and everything. And then obviously when we did win the league, it was COVID. I was like, are you joking me?
Yes.
So I was like,
No.
I waited literally my entire life to see this happen, and it's COVID.
Like all I got to say is when we won the Champions League and had like going through the street parade, like, okay, yeah, I put it, like, it was on YouTube. I put it on.
That's so
and
cool.
it played through the whole of the parade, much to the chagrin of my Man United loving lady. So
do you have kids?
Well, like not yet, but when
that
day comes, like the brainwashing will begin.
Well, this is what's interesting. So I think I always found a sketch that John Bishop said always absolutely hilarious. I think John Bishop's Liverpool race is Scouse, and his missus is a Man United fan. He's like, he brings up his kids mixed race, and it's just brilliant. He's like, his kids are mixed race, and there's this battle, and I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. And yeah.
Like there was one sketch where he's like, when his like son came up to him and went, I think I wanted to support Man United, and as he passes out, he goes, yeah, he could have said anything. I goes, yeah, I like to dress up in girls' dresses and like want to be a unicorn.
But you literally the worst thing that could possibly be said to a Liverpool fan. Well, which is worse in your opinion? If he said, I want to support Man United, or I want to be an Everton fan? I mean, come on.
This is the whole thing. I would just simply went, look, either which way, both of those options are bad. But if you want to have some type of joy in your heart, you would have to go with Man United at some point, because there will be some type of glory which will come. Yeah,
well, that's it. You're supporting a crap team, and like you're getting disowned. But I think the Everton Liverpool divide is more passionate in actual Scousers. So like I think whereas Man United is hated by every Liverpool fan, regardless of where you're from. So I think Man United is more hated in some ways.
But because like this is a thing, like when it's the Liverpool derby, and like you see in Goodison, and you're like, okay, you see it's the only time you can have like fans all mixed, like Liverpool fans and Everton fans mixed together. There is no other derby you can ever do that. Could you imagine? Arsenal Tottenham, for example, like like Arsenal Tottenham, Man City, Manchester.
Yeah, that's worse. No. But the grounds are so close to each other. That's why they're literally just like a road separating them. It's actually mental. I remember like always wanting to know what it was actually like on like the just game day. Like if the fans of the street just start kicking off, but they're actually really respectful, which is quite interesting. And I think the most interesting one I went to I think that year as well. I did they had a 5K run for the Hillsborough 96.
Yeah.
And obviously that's one of the most amazing times I've seen. Like Liverpool fans, Everton fans come together, and they're like best friends for the day, because they're all kind of, going for this important thing, and they put all the differences aside because they want to remember all the lives lost that day and everything like that. And I think that was really nice. That's a difference.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. That's one of the beautiful things about Liverpool as a city when it comes to both of the football teams. It's like, okay, first and foremost, like once you've got past like which team you support, it's all about the community. It's all about the city. And if you don't have that, you can't you don't actually understand it. So it's like, yeah, but it's wonderful when you see it in action. Wonderful. Yeah. But like, this is the thing, like the thing what intrigued me about you. Now, when I was doing my little search through Matchmaker, I was like, going, okay, like, it's like you do so much. Yeah, like, how do you keep your head together, like from the spinning? Because look, don't get me wrong, chess is not what I call a simple like endeavor. And then basically, with regards to like basically, being a branding company as well. As like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people. Someone asked me this today on a call. They were like, "It's insane," because I jumped on a call with them because I'm in the middle of trying to run like a few charity events this year, and they were like, "My God, you like to keep busy, don't you?" Like I was like listing all these things that we're doing this year, and it's like it's insane amount of stuff. I do really like to keep busy. I think that I don't know. I feel like for me, I've always been a sort of person that's always wanting to achieve more and go to the next goal. And like once I achieve one, I'm like, okay, what's next? I don't really take a break. I'm just like, right, next one. And I just feel like I need to be doing something all the time. I think that, I do like my downtime and it's really nice and not have to do anything, but I do feel like everyone has purposes in life, but you need to find your purpose to do things. And I just feel like I need to always be striving to do something. So I'm always working on some sort of project.
Yeah, I hear that. And like, how did you, like, what would you say? No, how did you discover what your purpose was? Or are you still trying to seek that out?
Yeah, I'm still trying to seek that. I mean, I think there's a lot of things. Like, for example, again, I've got people who tell me that I should be coaching chess because I do a lot of chess coaching and I love it. And I've got a real passion for teaching in general. And like I love teaching kids and inspiring them and teaching them this beautiful game in a way that they understand it and it's not so intimidating for like compared to other people. And I do have a unique way of teaching in that sense. And most people come to me and their kids have had loads of teachers before, but no one's ever got through to them, and I do it, and then they love chess, and so it makes me think, okay, there is something there, and I absolutely do love doing it. But when I then did that day in, day out, I didn't think that I enjoyed it anymore. It took the fun out of it. I think when something then becomes a chore, you lose the passion, and I think then you don't become as good at it, and I think it's a vicious cycle. So I stepped away from it for a while, and then discovered what else I wanted to do. And I've always had this passion for design, and so then that I went into design, I did marketing, all that kind of stuff. That's still there, and I still have that passion, but now I do a lot more teaching again, and now I do it as not my main job. And so it's like the side hustle, as I say, but it's a very, very good side hustle. Like, so it's because it's obviously my original kind of calling, so to speak, that I now love it again. So it's great. So I don't want to lose that. I don't want to do that too much and then it becomes a chore again. So I want to still absolutely love what I do, so that my full passion is there, so I can be better at it, so I can inspire people. But yeah, I still also love what I do in terms of my marketing agency and doing design work and just help startups and businesses kind of achieve what they want to achieve. And yeah, I think that you just got to keep doing what you love, and I love all that stuff. And so if I love it, I think I should just keep doing it.
No, I hear you, because like this is the thing, like, yeah, teaching, like, okay, playing chess is like one thing, like playing chess to like a master level, that's a completely different thing. But then like going, okay, teaching chess, look, don't get me wrong, I know how the pieces move, but like that's about it. But like this, like the sort of like sophistication of the complex strategies you have to like put into place, do you sometimes take that sort of chess element and then like indoctrinate that into other areas of your life?
Yeah, like literally all the time. That's what I do every day. I mean, if I ever hear people like, all they say to me is, oh my god, don't you just overanalyze everything? I'm like, yeah, it's like it's and that's my like probably my downside in my chess game too. I totally overanalyze positions all the time, and I do that with life, which is a bad thing. But I do a lot of strategy, and I apply that to businesses as well. So I help my clients by applying the strategy I learned from chess and being able to think so many steps ahead, being able to think for different scenarios, because like, again, businesses, when they're starting up or even when they've been operating for a while, they only see scenarios that they're used to. But I am able to visualize what I always produce options saying, what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens. And the same as in chess, you don't just think down one path. Like a big flaw that lots of people do is they only think about their plan, but they don't think about what their opponent's going to do. So I always provide those strategies as well in business. I'm saying, okay, so you're doing this, but what if then your competitor does this, or what if the customer wants this, this and this? And I'm there, like, I'm always able to provide additional scenarios so that they can think about different things, and so they can proactively market their product or service. So I definitely apply it to business a lot, and marketing for sure. Because a lot of marketing is that a lot of people, the where they fail in marketing is that they think about themselves only. So they're like, oh, but I really like this, or this is how I would buy it. I'm like, but you are not your customer, you are not your target audience, so you have to put yourself into your customer's shoes, and they can't do that. And so that's obviously something I have to think about, and preempt solutions that come in, and all these different things that can do, or like, even time-saving things. We had people who were inundated with customer service like calls and emails, etc. And so I wrote a list of FAQs for their website that they were able to then I preempted all the questions that would come in and produce different scenarios. So they would basically cut down their customer service time by 85% because they were just like, they were able to just refer them back to the FAQs, and most of the answers were there. And so things like that, it's interesting that you could apply chess strategy to business. It's really weird.
I mean, no, like, this is the thing, like, strategy is strategy, and like the whole thing is like, each time, like, it's either chess or it's like a game of Go. It just comes down to how like manic it is. I can imagine like what I can imagine what life must have been like for you, because look, okay, you've been doing like complex creative now for 2.5 years. Okay, now the year is 2019 and everything seems to be going well. Like, looking towards the new sort of decade, like going, new decade, new me. Bring on 2020. Then, like, yes, like Liverpool going on a glorious march, like forward. I was meant to be at the Everton, like, Liverpool game and meet Jurgen Klopp on the actual weekend when everything went wrong on the Monday. But March and April hit. What was that like for you? And especially with all the sort of like, okay, you had your strategy laid out. How on earth did you pivot?
I mean, first of all, that was around the time when he said Everton, oh my god, he said Everton. That was around the time when Liverpool started dropping points. So that wasn't very good. I remember all the 2 points were given away to those draws that I didn't like. So that was a bad time already as it is. I remember that. So in terms of the business, I actually been running my agency for just over 8 years now.
Really?
So Complex Creative is actually a rebrand of my old agency. And so we decided in December 2019 to completely basically hit start again, because we hated the old brand. It was so generic, so run of the mill. We were basically just another full service award-winning creative agency like every other agency out there, right? It's like, how could you tell us apart? And so we decided to award. Exactly. So it's like we decided to like go for completely rebrand. So we went for Complex Creative and we became the no bullshit agency. Controversial as hell, right? And so many people still say, oh, you're alienating your audience. Like, so many people come to your website and be like, this is very inappropriate. But I was like, right, but those are the people I don't want to work with anyway. So we actually were able to filter out our ideal client by doing this. And again, spinning a bad thing into a good thing. So we had actually we had a ton of leads coming into the old website with great SEO, all that stuff. And so it was sort of seen as a negative thing to rebrand. But like, 80% of those leads were actually bad leads, and we didn't really think about our client properly enough about who we wanted to work with. And so we accepted loads of those clients. It became a nightmare. It was stressful, all these things, like, and I sort of learned that we don't want to do that. So that's why we niched down. Problem is, we decided to do that in December. It takes a bit of time to rebrand. Even as a branding agency, and we did all this, but maybe even more so because we were very particular about it, and I don't want to release something that I'm not completely proud of. And so we launched March the 8th. We're like loving it. Look, hey everyone, here's our new brand. We're now the new bullshit agency, starting afresh. 2 weeks later, the world just ended. So we were like, what the hell? It was the worst timing ever. It was like all the other stresses that go with like launching a new brand and everything were bad enough, but then we hit a pandemic and we're like, this is ridiculous. So it was awful. It was really, really awful. And again, so many people said to us, oh, surely your company is the type of company that did really well during COVID because, like, it's all online, it's like digital, everyone wants to shift to digital. But think about it, in a company, what's the first type of budget you want to cut? It's your marketing budget, But when you're trying to save money, everyone cut their marketing budget. They were like, no, we're not spending any money on marketing. We're not going to get any sales anyway. Like, we've got to shut down. We've got to protect our money. And people just got really protective over it. So it wasn't as easy as we thought it would be. And so the only way we survived is from all our previous clients that have been with us for years.
Yeah.
So all of those clients had obviously we rebranded, but it was the same team, it was the same, it was me, it was still like everything was still the same, it was just a different like visual identity. And so we basically had all our old clients just came out the pipeline, so saying, now it's probably a good time, might have to revamp my website because nothing's going to happen for a while, I don't know what's going on, and actually I could do with this fixing and whatever. And so they're the ones that kept us afloat during COVID, because no one was taking on new business, and no one was wanted an agency they didn't know. They also thought was probably brand new. This is also what I realized, because like you thought 2 years or whatever, 2.5 years, but actually we've been around for ages, but they didn't really realize. They thought, okay, brand new agency started up, not going to trust them. They're called the No Bullshit Agency, probably are full of shit. Like, it's like, they just look so different to everyone else. Probably can't really trust them. Don't take risks right now because we can't afford to take risks right now. No one knows what the future's like. No one understands what business is going to be like. So just, they're not a safe bet. And we really suffered because of that. And obviously I didn't really, talking about me planning ahead, I didn't plan for I definitely didn't plan for a pandemic. I mean, there's so many things I could do, but I definitely didn't plan for a pandemic. And so just absolute worst timing. So, I mean, yeah, that wasn't great. But, we survived. And that's something we had to keep reminding ourselves, that so many other companies didn't. Like, when I look around, how many agencies have actually disbanded or really collapsed or lost all their staff, etc., or you walk down the high street and how many of your favorite restaurants are just shut, or the pubs have closed, and it's just like, it's really sad, like all this stuff. And those are the places I used to go to all the time just don't exist anymore. And so I have to look back and think, okay, we actually survived, and we survived, and we're doing all right, we're growing, so surely this is a good thing. And I have to realize that what we've done is a good job. And so many times it's easier to be hard on yourself. Like you said, I'm always looking to achieve something. When you're really ambitious, you're really hard on yourself, your own worst critic. And I'm sort of like, oh, failed, I'm not where I could have been or should have been. You compare yourself to others and you're sort of like, oh, but they're doing this. And then you start to realize actually they're not doing that. It's marketing, and they're just phrasing it a certain way. And you just got to, run your own race. And again, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still here. We're still live. We're still doing well. We're not in debt. We're actually, so in the grand scheme of things, we're doing well, and I should be happy. And I am happy. And I'm proud of my teams for plowing through it all, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. Like, this is the thing. Like, it's one of those things where, okay, doing branding and being a branding agency and like basically seeing how branding goes for many of these companies. Well, like, you're not all seeing because you didn't see a pandemic coming. No one did. If anyone put money on that, I'd be like, you're in cahoots with the government.
So how did you make coronavirus?
Was it a pangolin or was it something else? I won't go into that right now, but that's another story. But like, this is the thing. One of the hardest things I think anyone, be that a company or individually, is finding their authentic self. And you like going, you know what? No, like doing 8 years of what you were doing. Like, yeah, people knew who you were and everything like this, but sitting down and like, this isn't me. This isn't us. This is not what I want to be. This is like, so, and like going, okay, let's start again. That takes bravery. That takes guts, because like not many people would like go, okay, it's time to like shut this, tear it down and build anew,
Yeah, and exactly that. And loads of people say that to me and they go, oh my God, that takes guts. I mean, it was pretty scary. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't just like, yes, we can do this. And like, like we are Spartacus. And kind of like,
follow me.
Or like that scene from Jerry Maguire where he gets up and he's like, who's with me? I feel like I didn't do that. I was definitely nervous, and you know, wasn't sure about it. And I was still sort of like, oh my God, was that the right decision? Like giving up all your online reputation, all that kind of stuff. But I just was like, that is not us. And, you know, I left, and as I said, there was so many negative memories from that brand behind. And I was like, I'm just leaving that behind and starting afresh. And we're going to do things how we want to do things, attracts the sort of people we want to work with, all that kind of stuff. And I feel so much better now. Like you said about authenticity, that's a huge thing of what we're about. And obviously, like, we're called the no bullshit agency. You can't be no bullshit and then be full of shit. So obviously that speaks to my brand. And so that's it. So I believe in that and believe in being yourself. And I think that that's the only way you can be. And I think there's so many people out there are really trying over and over again, like to put on this front. And that's what, you know, you were saying about, you know, oh, people will say you work so hard, you're doing so many things, like, you know, it's just like, how are you not tired? And I was like, well, the difference is, first of all, I'm doing what I love. So, you know, it doesn't feel as tedious or like hard work when you actually enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And secondly, if I'm being 100% authentic all the time, I'm not actually putting as much energy and effort into like faking things as much as other people are. I feel like that's what so many people do for 8 hours a day when they're doing their job. They're putting on this front of the perfect employee that they want to be, or even if they're a business owner, like the person they think that their customers want them to be. And that must be exhausting. Like, you know, it's just every day putting stuff out there that you have to remember, oh my God, I have to say this, I have to act a certain way. And that must be so mentally draining. No wonder they're tired at night and can't do everything else. But being me, that's effortless, right? You just be. Like, it's not difficult. So therefore, that's what makes it easier. So.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And like, this is the thing, when you like go, oh yeah, 8 hours a day trying to be that perfect employee. And I would say, like, this is the whole thing. They're not really sort of being that perfect employee. They're doing enough to sort of put points on the board and like keep themselves out of trouble. But it's a case of, because that time's being eaten up, and like, yes, if they're in that sort of realm of bitching about what their like circumstance and they're not doing anything about it, that's when it sort of gets draining. That's when it sort of get them caught in the mire, if you get what I mean, and slowly being dragged down. And like, look, as you say, yeah, if you're being truly authentic, you don't need to put on that front, that energy you need to put on that. I'm smiling a bit like, I think is it Toy Story 2, where basically you had the like Barbie at the end, like there's air stewardess Barbie, that's that guy, I'm smiling, and then she's like, then it like cuts away and she's like, oh God. Yeah.
You're gonna hate me for the fact that I haven't seen, well, I have seen all the Toy Stories. I was just laughing because in my office I'm like crucified for not watching enough Disney movies, and I've seen Toy Story and Toy Story 2. I don't think Toy Story 3. I haven't seen the fourth one, but I just forget movies like instantly. It's really weird. Like, I just forget. I forget. And so within about a period of a year, give it a year. Maybe it's because I do so many things. Like, there's only certain amount of space in my memory to remember things. But I after about a year, I've forgotten what happens in the movie. I remember like the major plot, or sometimes I remember the major twists, and then I'm just like, oh, I don't remember anything else. So,
but
Toy Story.
No, you are a women's international chess master.
I've got a good memory.
You've got to remember a whole series of strategies and stratagems and everything like this. And
I can probably remember chess opening theory from when I played when I was 11 years old, but I still don't remember what happened in Toy Story. It's really weird.
Color me purple and call me Barney.
Honestly, it doesn't make sense. It's a really weird thing with films, and I think that also, I don't know. I think also I switch off. Maybe my concentration is not fully there, and so you don't fully absorb it. And I know that with like, I binge watch a lot of TV shows, and you know, and then if I do that while I've got my laptop on my lap, which I often do, and then I'm like, okay, what happened last season? And then on the news, I'll know that I enjoyed it, and I can remember the main plots of it. And then it will come, the next season comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, season 5's out, and I'm like, okay, I need to rewatch season 4 because I don't remember what happened. I do that every time.
It's
really stupid.
It's like, come on, season 5. Oh, is that
I
going?
do it every time. I start off like, so for season 5, I start off like rewatching like I rewind like 3 episodes. So I'll try and watch the last 3 episodes of season 4 or something. Then I'm like, I don't remember this. So I keep rewinding, like, don't remember this. So I just start at the beginning and I just rewatch them.
So I have to ask, what is the last TV series you kind of remember?
Well, I'm in the middle of watching at the moment, so I'm always watching a show because I'm just like, I've just binge watched, like I watched, like, feel like I watched every TV show. I'm rewatching, so again, we can talk about how much I remember the first time I watched it. I'm rewatching The Sopranos, right, at the moment.
Okay,
which is brilliant. I don't remember
anything. Do you remember that?
I didn't remember anything from the first time. And the same as I rewatched The Wire before that, again, another classic. And I didn't remember anything from the first time either. I remember the chess scene. That was a great chess scene, because the way he was teaching chess, I was like, this is genius. He was teaching them chess as if it was like a how they push drugs. So it was quite interesting. And I was like, oh, that's a good concept of how to teach chess. Maybe I should not do that in schools, but it was interesting. But I forgot everything, so I have to rewatch shows over and over again before I remember.
Wow,
it's really weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So, like, dare I ask, like, does this sometimes bleed into your actual work?
No, but this is what's interesting. Well, the only thing I do is because I do so many things, I do forget that I have to do something. I'm like, oh my God, that's why I have to make so many notes. So I have like a notebook, which is always here, and it has like all my to-do list, you can see it all highlighted and stuff like that, which is like, every time I remember I have to do something, I write it down because I will forget. If I have a meeting, it has to go in the diary or it doesn't happen, just because there are so many things I need to do. But I'll often just remember what I need to do. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'll remember today exactly when all my meetings are. So for example, actually, our podcast wasn't in the diary. For some reason, there was a diary sync, but I was like, I have a podcast at 7 p.m. I know I do. And I remembered it, and I booked that in a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks ago, but I remembered it. So it's strange that sometimes, obviously, when there's a malfunction, it does happen. So it's interesting that I remember. I guess it's like, there's loads of books on this. I think, ironically, I read the book about memory by Tony Buzan, but forgot what was in it. So that's the most ironic thing ever.
I read this book about memory. What was it? I cannot remember.
Honestly. So, but there's loads of stuff about it, which is interesting, which says obviously there's only a certain amount of space in your brain that you can capture information for. And, as you learn new things, it like shifts out other stuff that doesn't think is as important. And I think that perhaps my brain prioritizes what it considers to be important and what it doesn't. So film and TV, because it's me relaxing, and that's what I do to just chill and relax. Then my brain is probably not as switched on, obviously, when you watch TV, and it's not like that heightened mode, so I don't remember as many things. But then when I'm working, because I'm seeing it as important, I'm more focused, and then I actually remember more things. So for example, if I read a book, I'll remember more what's in a book than I will what's in a movie, which is backwards for most people. Which is strange.
No, well, yeah, a little bit strange.
But also what's ironic is I'm a visual person, so it doesn't really make sense. I should really remember it from a movie.
You are a conundrum rock.
I don't make any sense at all.
It's like, okay, right. Because like this is the thing, like the way you talked about some of the games, like going, okay, we're drawing this and we're drawing that. It's like, like facts, like figures seem to stick in your head as well.
Yeah, they do. Like, I mean, it's interesting. So I can remember random stuff, but it's just bizarre. I don't know what it is about movies. I'm trying to think of a movie that I remember the most out of every movie. I really don't know. Apart from The Lion King, that's the one Disney movie I love and I have seen. It's my favorite movie. So that's probably that's probably the movie I remember. I say that Die Hard, I probably remember quite a lot of.
Look, 2 very good movies. Like,
totally very
look, hey, let's be honest. Like both movies, like do violence quite a lot. And he's like, if you think about it, like like Mufasa fighting it,
you know what? That would be a great team up. Mufasa and John McClane. That would be unstoppable. I bet no one has ever said that ever.
You know what they have now? It's like Mufasa and John McClane team up.
Unbeatable.
It's like going, a New York City cop teams up with a transfer from out of town.
But they would have the best one-liners ever as well.
It's like, what's your name? Mufasa. But they refer to me as the king.
Yes. And he'd be like, now I have a machine gun. Like, it's just like you can have the best lines ever.
Like, someone's taking over a Brooklyn Zoo. Terrorists.
Yes, that is a great setting. That is it.
It's like,
oh my God, the animals are kept hostage, and like, so maybe some of the, prize tigers are kept hostage, and somehow Mufasa needs to get it out of the lion's den into that other kingdom to save them. But John McClane also just happens to be there, at night.
You want to know something? Both of them are both wearing tank tops. Like,
they're both barefoot.
Oh yeah, well, Mufasa, like, I don't think you're gonna really get the trainers from Mufasa. It's like, okay, come on now, put these Nikes on. No, it's like see him walking like like a dog.
I'm sorry, that's the best team up ever. I've done it. John McClane and Mufasa.
You're not. I like it. It's like, I like it. It's like, I want to watch this now. It has to be, it's like maybe in some type of animation. I'm not too sure how. But
I hope someone like Christopher Nolan out there is listening to this. Actually, he's because he does weird stuff. Maybe it'd be too weird for him. Maybe who'd be a good like producer for Guy Ritchie would take this on.
Guy Ritchie.
Like, you need Vinnie Jones in there and Statham as well while you had him.
I think this is turning into something different for you right now. There's like hey Sabrina, where you going? I'm going to watch the film alone. Leave me be. It's like,
I'd love it. It'd be great.
Hit play. Here you go. It's like happy thoughts.
I do a really eclectic mix of different stuff. I think I like random things for sure.
Oh, indeed. Apart from doing rather unique movie mashups, like how do you sort of structure your day? Because look, you say you have to write everything down. Is it a case of like, okay, you're one of these ultra wake up early people where it's like, okay,
hell no.
I get up at 5, I do an hour's meditation, and after that I hit the gym and then my day begins?
No. I cannot stand those people. No offense on everyone else who's listening who is one of those people. Actually, screw that. Offense to all of you people. I'm just like, honestly, I don't get why there is such self-entitlement to those people when they're just like, I wake up at 5, and they're just sort of like, I just see the post on like Instagram just like, so it's 7:30 and I've done this and this. What have you done with your day, bitches? And I'm just like, I slept in and I felt great. Now I'm getting up at a normal time and going to work at a normal time, and I still get stuff done. I'm sorry, but
like, don't you try putting me down with your early morning, like getting stuff done. Going to
exactly.
Meditating. I don't care for it.
But it's also just like, why is it better to get up at 5 a.m, like hashtag 5 a.m club and all that bollocks? Like, why is it better to be in that hashtag 5 a.m club when you could also be productive at night? So like, there's lots of people, like my most productive hours used to be, not as bad now, used to be between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And that's because every one of those 5 a.m bitches are in bed sleeping, so they're not bothering me with phone calls and emails, so I can actually concentrate and actually do my work. And so I'm really productive. And what's the problem with doing that? You can still get your 8 hours sleep if you want to and go to bed. So what's the problem? I don't see that there's a problem. Why do you have to get up at 5 a.m. and do all your morning yoga in the sunshine and stuff? I don't get
5 a.m. bitches. Okay. Like, it's like, oh my Lord. It's like,
I mean, I definitely don't. I mean, there's been times I've got up at whatever o'clock, and I get it. It does feel quite good if like it's 9 a.m. and you've already done loads of stuff, but it doesn't need to be. You don't. It's fine if you like doing it, and that's your prerogative if you like doing that. But don't put other people down if they don't do that. There's nothing wrong with having a different type of lifestyle. And I think that every lifestyle is different for other people. Lots of them will get to 9 p.m. and feel shattered and they just sleep. I get to 9 p.m. I feel great. Like, you know, I want to go out and stuff like that. So it's a totally different lifestyle. Also, it will be totally different if people have kids. They're going to have a totally different sort of like, if maybe the kids wake them up at that time of the morning and they feel like, okay, they've got up now, they have to kind of be productive. Absolutely fine. Do what you need to do that suits your lifestyle, which is weird because a lot of those people don't actually have kids, the ones who say that. They're actually these young single women who say that and that's what they do with their life. But all I'm saying is do what you want to do, see what suits you. You've got to do what works best for you. Like if you work better at the night, then work better in the night. That's absolutely fine. If you work better in the morning, then do that. But I just think that don't then criticize other people for just because your routine doesn't suit them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And look, I have something to confess. So yes, I'm one of these people who do get up quite early in the morning and go to the
5
gym.
a.m. bitch.
No, that's just basic. But I'm no basic bitch, honey. No. But like the whole thing is, I would simply go, look, I'll never sort of like go, okay, this is what I do. You must do exactly what I do, like to have a fulfilled life. It's like going, yeah, I am considerably different to you, and
and that's okay.
Like, and yeah, perfect. It's perfectly fine to do that, you know.
Exactly, and you know, my dad is one of those. I'm not going to say if I can't ever describe my dad like that because I just like utmost respect for my dad.
Look at me.
I could not. My dad is an early morning riser, is what I'm going to say.
You coward.
I just can't do it.
Come on, say it. Look, he won't hear it. I don't
care. I can't do it.
Come on, say it. Go on.
But he's nuts though. He will go to bed at like 3 a.m. Say he won't want to do that. He normally goes to bed at a normal time. But say if something happened, or like, you know, he has to stay up, or like he's picking me up from somewhere late or something like he's done in the past, like being the good dad that he is. Like he'll go to bed late and he'll still get up at 6 a.m. He just can't. His body clock is so wired to that. He'll just get up that early anyway. And then, you know, he'll be like doing stuff. He'll have got up and whatever, and he'll be up eating breakfast and or probably lunch by the time I'm actually getting up or something. But he's like that. But my mum's a late riser. And so she'll get up at like 10, 11, and they've been married 45 years. So there's obviously, you can live with people who have different, like, you know, routines than you, and it shouldn't ruin your relationship. Like, it's okay. These people can coexist. Like, this is what I'm saying. So she likes to go to bed late and wake up a bit later. That's fine. They still spend the whole day together, and they're still happily married after 45 years. So proof that it works.
No, yeah, you know what? I thought you were going to be bolder than this, but yeah, I see how you just backed out from there. Like, yeah, giving it all that 5 a.m. bitch stuff. And like, yeah, when it came to your dad, you're like,
God.
Saw the lip trembling. Just like,
my dad is like Mufasa.
It's like, what?
With ultimate respect.
Mufasa. Ooh, say it again. Mufasa. Love it. So, like, apart from, yeah. so many things. Yeah. Movie mixes of which are quite unique. Like, yeah, calling people 5 a.m. like bitches, except your dear old papa, because you can't go there. Like, yeah. So, like, what I have to ask now, the book. How did you like go, you know what? I've done all this, like I'm doing my chess thing, and like I've been teaching, and like you went, you know what? I'm gonna do a book. What made you do that?
basically how it went. That impression, by the way, was uncanny.
Oh, well, you know what? I felt the connection. I raised my hand up to the screen and went, and there you go. I was there. It's like, yeah, Mufasa, John McClane. It's like, Friday bitch.
So I actually, yeah, I was teaching a lot, and I was teaching loads of kids, and parents just kept coming up to me and was like, so my kid's getting quite good coming home, and you know, they really likes chess, and what book can you recommend that I get him? And I was like, I don't know, they all suck. Like, was basically the answer. It's like, I don't know, they're like, chess books for kids are really boring, and I have no idea what to recommend, so I decided to write one. That was basically what happened. And yeah, I was very lucky that actually a publisher actually approached me and asked me to write one, which is very rare. Most people are kind of desperate for publishers. It's really good. And yeah, very, very, very impressed at how well it's done. It's like the best-selling kids book in the UK and for chess, and you know, it's in over 20 different languages. Yeah, it's done really well. So I'm pretty impressed with it. I didn't expect it to be so big, but it's done pretty well.
Yeah, you know what? Like, because like this is the thing. I've spoken to a number of people who've written a book. Like, yes, if you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, really?
Yeah.
But no. But to like go, okay, 20 different languages. Oh my God.
That's the thing. Like, so I feel like at the moment, everyone wants to write a book, or everyone is writing a book or has written a book now, because self-publishing is very easy. Like, you know, there's lots of companies out there which are doing that whole thing. You need to write a book, and I'm pretty sure probably you need to write a book.com, or we can help you write a book.com is a website now. Like, I feel like those sort of services exist, and so it's become much more commonplace to write a book. But I think that writing a book that's been published by a publishing house, and you know, that's a totally different thing. There's not many people who've done that. Like, if you ask how many people have landed a book contract with a publisher and, you know, been commissioned to write a book professionally, it's a very, very different story to self-publishing a book. And there's obviously massive pros and cons for it. And but yeah, like I was very lucky that they wanted me to do it, and was very impressed. And you know, they did an activity book alongside it as well, so it's really exciting. And they've got all these books, and yeah, they basically handle all the printing, and they publish it in loads of different languages, and it's really cool. I've got like family in Singapore and Malaysia, and it's out there, and it's just like my friends have been like in New York, and they'll be like, send me a picture going, oh, look what's in our library, and it's like really cool, and it's really nice to see it's done so well. And I obviously, like, that's something that wouldn't really be possible, I guess, if you're self-publishing, unless you put a lot of money into it, obviously. So
absolutely. I have to ask, what is one of the most like more unexpected things which came out of this book for you?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can think of like things that I thought were amazing that came out of the book. Unexpected, I don't know. I feel like unexpected, I think is there was one time I was on BT Sports panel, which was quite random, and one of the presenters was like, oh my God, my son's got your book, and like stuff like that's quite cool. How like random people, you know, or like who are semi-celebrities or whatever, own my book, which I find really surreal. Like, you know, and that's really bizarre. I think like one of the nicest moments came when I did an event, and I did like a simultaneous display, which is basically says what it does on the tin, but it's essentially I play like 30 kids at the same time at chess, and they started chanting this phrase, and I was like, oh my God, like, where did you learn this from? And because it's something I made up in chess. They're like, it's from our favorite book. And I was like, and they were like, and I was like, what book? And they were like, oh, it's called Chess for Children, and the characters are called Jess and Jamie, and they're our favorite, and they teach us. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it was just so weird. And they were like, and they're like, yeah, we love it. And I was like, do you know who wrote that book? And they were like, no. And I was like, me? And like, no, you didn't. They just didn't believe me. And I was like, I swear I did. And I was like, right, wait there. I stopped the thing, went to go find a copy of the book and put it next to like my name card. And I was like, look, guys, look. And they were like, oh my God. And they all started like telling each other screaming, and they all go, "Can you sign it to give us an autograph?" And they were like, they treated it like I felt like a celebrity, and it was so cute. So they all were just like, "We love your book," and it was really sweet. And I just felt like, oh my god, that's so strange. And so I think for me that was like a really kind of, I don't know, just it was wonderful, like to know that phrases and little catchy things that I made up for chess are actually, you know, helping them learn, and they enjoy it, and so for me that was like totally worth the whole experience. So
No, you know, that is great, because yeah, it's definitely something you're making an impact.
Yeah,
Like truly making an impact, because like the amount of times you hear people like, oh, I'm making an impact in the world like this. And like, this is the thing, like when people say you're making an impact, there are some people that go, yeah, you are clearly made an impact on this world in one great way or the other. But like when you're like, I've helped educate these kids about like chess, and they're chanting quotes from the book. Like, you know what? It's a good job you didn't put your picture in the back of the book, because like all of a sudden you'll be just doing something one day, and then just have this kid just like,
I think maybe you're overestimating what the powers of the book are, but it just so happened I was at a chess tournament, so it wasn't within context.
No, but like this is the thing, like stuff like that. Like when you're like, okay, I have no idea how many copies of the book sold, but when if someone's into something like chess, and like you're the sort of stepping stone for them to get better, let's just say they're all in.
So I think there's like 50,000 copies sold now, which is quite cool. So for terms of chess, like because it's such a niche thing, that's a huge number. So that's why I'm really proud of it. So
God damn. 50,000 kids, and let's just say out of that 50,000, a good 1,000 of them quite obsessional. You would like look. All I'm saying is you will be in places, and then all of a sudden this kid will just stop, and I go, no, everything has to stop.
That'd be so cute though. I love the thought of that. But I mean, okay, obviously, like I don't think that's actually gonna happen, but that's really sweet if it does.
Hey, like, you know what? I like, this is the thing. Like, if like, I'm amazed you haven't like gone, you know what? I'm gonna put chess and TikTok and chess together and like do something like that on the side. You never know. This might.
I mean, there's so many things I've really wanted to do in terms of chess to help promote it. I don't know what the right way is, and I think that I'm also one person that's not got massive reach. I'm not going to be able to do it, but I think if there were a lot of people who felt as passionate as I did about helping kids get into the game, who had the right sort of, you know, attitude for it, I think it could work. But I don't think there's that many people, sadly, who you know, want to do things in a modern and professional way. Like I think that with chess, like it's still very traditional, and people still do things in the same way they used to do when I was a kid, and they haven't really like adapted to the 21st century. Like you said, TikTok, some of these people probably don't even know what TikTok is. So it's like, you know, obviously every kid does, but again, like if you want to teach them and change things, you want to start really grassroots, and those kids really shouldn't be on TikTok. So like, you know, I'd like to say you want to go pre-TikTok, and but there's definitely, I'd love to come up with ways of doing that sort of thing, and there's definitely things I've wanted to try and do in the past, so I'd love to, but I'm only one little person.
Everyone, like, hey, you know what they say, small, like you might be small, but you're definitely mighty. Like, hey, because like,
that's how I describe the pawn in chess, actually, small but mighty.
It's the only piece which can become any other piece it wants.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say it's the one that's actually got the most, like moves the most different ways, and actually has like all these secret powers that no one knows about until they get better. Like that's what I'm saying. So it's a special pawn.
There you go. Special pawn. There you go. It's like, be careful how you like where you say that.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, it's the fact that I think, again, the strategy wise, I tried to make them sound special, because when they start, they're like, oh, he's only worth 1 point, he's a rubbish, I'll just give them all away. And they're like, it doesn't matter, it's only a pawn. That's what they always say. They just give them away. It doesn't matter if they lose them. But they will never do that with the queen, because it's so precious. Obviously, they're really, but they just so careless with them. So to stop them doing that, I'm like, you do realize that every time you just give one of those away, you're giving away a potential queen, because that's what you could get if you got it to the end of the board. And they're like, oh yeah. And so like you just have to frame it in a different way so they're less careless with their pieces.
Hey, no, like this is the thing. I think with regards to stuff like this, I always think it's always a good thing if you can add that sort of next level of focus, or like, like, because it might not be the thing which is, oh, chess is my purpose, it's my driving force. But if it's a case of it can help like any, like a kid or an adult, help them sort of like focus up on a couple of things and go, hey, you know what? I like playing chess, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to be any grandmaster or whatnot. But oh, this thing here or that thing, the realm of possibility just seems to like grow and grow, and like you can take things forward from there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that means about purpose. I think that chess isn't my purpose, but I do think teaching is. Like every time I change path in life, I always come back to teaching in some way. Even in my agency, I do so much training. Like I'm always happy to do consultations with people because I want to educate them, I want to help them, and that's always how I've been. I'm always wanted to help people. Like had a big call about charities today. I just want to find ways to be able to help charities and help those who are less fortunate than I am, and etc. So I think that's definitely my calling. I want to do that in every possible way I can. So obviously chess has got a very clear way of doing that, because I am a chess master and I am good at teaching kids, so naturally if they wanted to learn chess I will teach them. But it's the same as everything. I want to be able to apply that to everything. I want somehow to be able to positively impact people's lives and just be able to help educate people, help inspire people in whatever way I can, and that's, I think that is my calling. And I think you're right with chess, like there's a greater picture with it, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about the game. I feel like you are always learning. You can never ever like master chess, and I say that in a loose term because obviously I am the definition of a chess master, and I know a lot of people who have technically mastered chess, and I big apologies to Magnus Carlsen if he's listening to this. He's like the world's greatest player of all time. He's probably thinking, I've kind of mastered the game though. But what I mean is that like I'm sure that he is still learning, and there are still so many things that he is yet to discover and yet to improve on. And just I think that's what's so beautiful about it. And it's just you can, even if he is like the GOAT or whatever, and he's better than everyone else, but he could perhaps change his style and completely change the way he plays and choose to like master that style instead, because he's playing one that he's obviously clearly better than everyone at. And I think that's it. Like you can change his opening and learn and master that and become, and I just feel like there's so much potential in that. So with chess it's like you can always frame things from different points of view, and like I said, I think it's one of the only games in the world where you could play with anyone in the world of any age, any race, any gender, everything. Like there's nothing, everyone actually can be on the same playing field. Like name something else that you can actually really do that with. There's not many things that you can do that with. Okay, board games in general, that's why I think are fantastic, but chess has that extra level to most board games with the tactics, the strategy, the style, your personality comes out in the game, and you could put it's an art, you can put your own stamp to it, and in lots of positions there's no right or wrong answer. I say that loosely. Obviously, there are some bad moves in positions and some good moves, but I mean, there might be multiple good moves in a position, and people go, well, which one should I play? And I'm like, well, that's actually completely dependent on your style and what type of position you want to end up in. It's your choice. So it's I think that's what's beautiful about the game, really.
Yeah, I hear that. Like this is the thing, like with all the chessboard metaphors which are flying around, they're like, yes, the gameplay, the board play, and everything like this. Now, one of the things which, like, I had to sort of bring it back to, like, yes, the pawn, which can become anything. Now, with 2020, 2021, and like basically the sort of shifts which have been going on with a number of people, like sort of like going, hey, you know what, I've been doing this career for the last 10, 20 years, and now it's time for me to do what I want to do, or shift and change, and like basically rebranding in many respects. What have you seen has been the sort of greatest change, say, over the last, say, 8 to 6 months with regards to people's sort of movements?
I think that, everyone's talking about, this great resignation that's happening. It's happening in the US as well. Like, obviously that's where most people were talking about it. I was speaking to someone from the US and they were like, oh, it's happening in the UK as well. It's definitely a global thing. I think that lots of people are sort of choosing to go down their own path. So they are seeing that maybe they're not happy in the job they're in and they've got more potential to fulfill themselves. I think that, it's a mixture of things. And I think that the way that the pandemic has happened, it's kind of reframed what our priorities are. And not being able to see your loved ones so much, and that was painful for a lot of people. And a lot of people probably realized they were stuck in this job. They were doing 40 hours a week and they don't even love what they do. And they were like, why am I doing this? And so it's made them rethink priorities in life. And I agree with those people who were unhappy in their job and they realize actually they're not going to get to spend enough time with their kids or their partners. And they're like, well, I could have a better lifestyle for myself and my kids. And I need to think about my future and actually what is the best thing to do. And so I'm reframing it. I'm rethinking what I can do in my life. Fair play to those people. I think that's absolutely what you should do. It sucks that it's taken a pandemic for you to realize that, but that's what it needs to do to be able to make people think about this sort of thing. And I get that. What I don't like are the people who, like, for example, platforms like LinkedIn now have actually in some ways become toxic to the corporate world, or whatever the work world. It's not necessarily corporate, the job world, because there are big brands on there or big CEOs or whatever who want to come across like they are the best employers in the world, and they're posting stuff like, oh, this is what we're letting our employees do, they get this and this, and everyone's like, oh my god, that company sounds amazing to work for, I want to work for that company. And then what they're doing is they're going back to their employers and going, well, so and so is offering this, why aren't you offering that? They're like, well, we can't offer that, that's not what we do here. They're like, well, fine, I quit because I am worth this. And there's all these people doing all these inspirational posts going, no, you're worth, and or hashtag mental health if you're feeling down, blah blah. I get all those things are real topics and all those things are really important, but what they're doing and then using it as like marketing propaganda, and I don't like that, because it's then making other people make decisions that they maybe shouldn't have made. And in reality, if you speak to people who are actual employees of some of those big companies, not all of them, but some of the big companies, yes, they're saying, oh, you can do this, you can do this. Yes, okay, so the working from home benefit, oh yeah, we have full flexible working, no one needs to come back till 2023 or something. But actually what they'd have to do is they have to check in every hour of the day. They have only scheduled toilet breaks, and their employees are having to stay on Zoom all the time to make sure they're doing it. They have to get like keystroke software on their computers to make sure they're actually working. That's what your working from home life is actually really at those companies. People don't realize the actual truth behind it, so they just see, oh, I can work from home all the time, but that's actually what it's like. And they see like, oh, you get unlimited holidays, and they go, oh, fantastic, this is brilliant, so then I could just go on holiday whenever I want. You start taking the piss, you're fired. So it's like, they don't realize like what actually is the reality of these sort of things, and they just see all these beautiful company benefits and they just think, oh, I'm worth more than this now, and they quit in a rage, but they haven't really thought about their future. And I think that once people calm down a little bit, I think there's going to be a total shift again in the workforce and what's going to happen. I think people are going to panic a little bit. And also I think that being an entrepreneur and being a business owner is glamified too much. Like, I'm sure that everyone out there who's a small business owner knows how damn difficult it is. And they know that it is not what it looks like. They're just like, oh my God, don't you want more freedom? Don't you want more time with the kids? Don't you want all this stuff? That's not what you've got. What you've got is an income that you don't know if is going to be consistent or not, because 1 month you're making loads of money and next month you're broke, and then it's like you have freedom, you are feeling guilty if you don't work because you're like, time is suddenly money. So when you are sitting there watching that Netflix show, all you're thinking about is how you could be making money. Like, that's the reality of what it's like running a small business. You can't go on holiday and relax, because what you were doing before is you were sitting on a beach in Ibiza knowing that you're getting paid to be sipping those Mai Tais, but really what you're doing is you're bleeding the potential to earn money every time you're sipping a Mai Tai. It's a totally totally different thing in reality. And that's what really owning a small business is. And I'm sorry to be a really Debbie Downer on it, but that's what it is. And then you're probably going to be like, well, why the hell do you do it? And that's like the next question, right? Because I absolutely love what I do. And that's what it comes down to. If like I wouldn't change it, and I don't get me wrong, I've had really tough times, like I said, but you know, everyone does in business. You have your peaks and your troughs, and you have to ride those out. And during those low times, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, this could be easier. Like so many people go to me, oh, with your experience, you could just walk into a big company and get a big high paid salary job and not have any of this stress. And I'm like sitting there going, okay, if I had to paint an ideal world of a picture of exactly what I want, and I was like, what would I do? It all came back to, yeah, I'll do this. Like, this is actually it. This is what I'd want to do. And so if that's what it, then that's what I know I should be doing. And I think that you can't survive running your own business unless you have that 100% passion in what you do. You will fail. You absolutely will fail because it is ridiculously difficult. But like, the difference is if you have that fire burning through you, then you've got the chance to succeed, obviously, if you do things right. But the problem is so many people are quitting and they're starting up this startup lifestyle because they think that it's going to be like the Silicon Valley TV show or something, or they've heard about so and so has just landed a £5 million investment in venture capitalist fund because, you know, they had a great app and they're like, oh, well, I've got a great idea for an app, and they do all that and they don't really understand how it works. And, you know, they don't really understand the business and what they've done. They've blown through all their money and they realize again in like 6 to 12 months that they're broke again. And this time they've just like, you know, burned all the bridges because they called their boss an asshole when they quit and they don't have anywhere to go back to. So this is what's the reality of the situation that's going to happen. And I think that those people are in for a rude awakening. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, no, like I hear you. And like, this is the thing, if like with regard to you say like what you're saying, there are many things which come to mind. And like, this is the thing, like when it comes to the, if it'll go like, so it'll go backwards and like, it's a case of, yes, starting your own business. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to have this free time and everything like this. It's like, yeah, you can do, but more times than not, you're going to find yourself in like 10-hour days on the minimum side to 14 to 16-hour days on the sort of max side. And like, it's like, yeah, going at it hard again and again and again. No one also talks about the sort of, okay, the solitude within that, because look, the whole thing is, it's a game which, and when I say a game, I'm not trying to like put it on light heart or like make light of it in any way, but it's a game, a mission which you do by yourself. And if you're trying to find people who are also going through that same mission, it's a case of they can't be there to really support you because they are in the thick of it themselves. So with that all going on, it's like, yeah, that solitude, that loneliness, and not really having that backup, because when you're like, oh yeah, I've got you as an employee, I've got you as an employee, it's like, yeah, let's do this together. It's like, no, man, look, it's 5:30.
Yeah,
I'm going home.
Well, that's, I think, a lot of people in business as well. They don't understand that. They don't understand that those guys are employees. They're not founders. They don't have that same drive to make the business succeed. Yes, okay, they don't want to be in a company that fails.
Yeah.
But they're not going to work like you are. They're not going to care as much as you are, and never should they, or would they? Like, that's just not normal. So, you know, the only thing you could be is an inspiring leader, so that they believe in you and they want to do well, to want to help you, and believe in the business. That's what they need to do. But they still never will work all weekend and do all-nighters, and they absolutely should not do. That's the thing as well. Like, if you care about the company or you care about your employees, you should make sure that they are doing their 40-hour weeks, and that's it. Like, you know, you shouldn't be making them do overtime. I don't want my employees to be like, oh, actually, like, sometimes I reply on the weekend, I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm just catching up on emails. I'm like, no, like, go watch Netflix. Like, you know, like,
watch a crappy TV show, like one you can remember, or a film, one you can remember. But like, yeah. And like, you like go, and I look upon that and go, okay, yeah. And even if they did get that sort of record investment and everything like this, now you've gone from like like I'm a business owner, like I'm free and doing things for myself. It's like, no, now you've got an investor who's like going, I've given you this money, I want my return.
Yeah,
And like basically,
exactly.
yeah, there's
Exactly.
a scene from Goodfellas where like this guy like signs up with Paulie, who's the big boss,
I'm just
and
see if I
like
can remember it.
yeah,
Go on.
and like, well, yeah, and like this is the thing. Now he's signed up with Paulie, who's like going right, and basically Paulie's response to like yeah anything is like oh yeah I had a flood in like my like restaurant, fuck you, pay me. Oh like yeah like it the day was bad, fuck you, pay me. Oh yeah, my business was hit by a meteorite, no, fuck you, pay me. And like that's like you're like oh right, your investors are there on your back and everything like this. But like the other thing when you talk about, okay, shiny new sort of startup companies, which are like, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, and give you that. Like the whole thing is too many times it is false gold. And like, yeah, like this is the thing. Whereas you're like, I just want my employees to work 40 hours a day. They're like, I want you there for 60, 70 hours in that, like, yeah, working hard. Keystrokes are plenty, monitor the wazoo. And look, like, let's say pre-pandemic, if you were sick and you were at home and you were sick, that's it. You would be off for a few days, you recover. But now, in some companies, it's like you're sick. Okay, yeah.
Are you logging? When are you logging onto your emails? Like you can still do emails. Yeah, exactly.
Don't like it's like so it's like yeah, it's quite invasive and it's there.
It's totally different now. Like it really is. And like you mentioned, those like hard working. I always feel like any of the films with like because we'll talk about the finance industry or like
oh yes
exactly, or that kind of trading industry. Like I'm trying to think of a classic
Wall Street.
What's that?
Wall
Obviously
Street.
wows, but like that. What's the other one which is like what's the one with what's it called? It's gonna Boiler Room.
Boiler Room. Oh, that one.
That was like Boiler Room is another one. See, and yeah, so that one again, like they all of these ones, they just show that they work them to the bone, but obviously they're getting big bucks. But what they don't realize is that they have to kind of work like ridiculous hours and do exactly what the boss says and does all these kind of stuff, and you just kind of look the other way. It's a totally different atmosphere. As we said about startups, same sort of thing. You are expected in a startup to kind of work stupid hours, but they promise like stock options and all this kind of stuff, which sounds really glamorous, but really that's not what it should be. And so yeah, I just think that with any business, like I'm going to be the only one that cares as much as I do, and that's normal. Like I think that's it, and that's what it is in reality. And I think a lot of people like hire employees and I'm like, why aren't you working as hard as I am? Like, this is gonna happen, and they're like, well, they just don't care as much as you, and that's just normal. It's not their baby, it's just a job to them, and like that's the thing, and it always will be the case.
Yeah, and like this is the thing, like when it comes to some employees, and I would say like what I mean, there is this era of entitlement when they haven't actually earned anything to be entitled for. I think like Simon Sinek said it best with like some people like you know what, I've been here for some time now, and I don't feel like I'm really making an impact. And like Simon Sinek's like you've been here for about 6 to 8 months. It's like I understand. Well, yeah, and it's like a case of like no, like you've got to earn your stripes. You got to get in those trenches. If it's like, yeah, it's not going to be a year, it's not going to be 2, it's not going to be 3. I can't give you an exact number because each job sometimes has its different roles of intensity. Because you know what I mean, look, someone working 1 year in like doing something in one industry, it's like go. And someone could work in a place for 30 years where it's just like, okay, we like to take everything.
But that problem is because of I was saying the same thing with the whole LinkedIn nonsense. And there's people consistently putting up all these stupid motivational posts going, oh, I hired this person, 2 weeks later, they became CEO. Like they were just right for the job. And there's all these stupid stories out there that are designed for clickbait and inspiration, but people think that should be them. Like we have had that problem. I have had so many people who are just so entitled coming into the company over the last how many years. And the applications that I get through, like I get job applications through, and they'll be like, they'll send a CV, and then like that evening they'll be like, can you call me tomorrow to go through my CV? Then the next morning they'll be like, I didn't get a call, like, do you want me for this job or not? You're missing out a massive opportunity. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, this is what they'll say, and they'll be so demanding. And then like, we'll have people come into the company and they expect to be given a title of like COO like on the first day or something like that, and they just don't like how things are done, and you just get this weird sense of entitlement out there. And then there's always, and then other people come in and be like, okay, so we need to get our travel paid for, we need food allowances, we need this. And I'm like, well, no, we don't have that. Was in the job description, obviously, what you do have, and we've got this list of great benefits, but they also kick in after your probation. You're still on probation, you've been here 2 weeks. And so like, and they'll be like, okay, well, Google's offering that. I was like, so go get a job at Google, good luck. Like, that's what it's like. They will compare it to other things because I've heard it in the media, and that's what's happening to the world at the moment. Everyone like is comparing stuff they've heard on social media. It's the same as every influence on social media, but LinkedIn is now doing this to the job world.
Yeah. Would you say now, like, okay, LinkedIn has had its effect, and like, it's changing people's sort of like mindset and outlook on it all. Would you say that it is across all generations, or is it like, there is like, is it one particular sort of, is it the new like mob coming in, which come in with these like sky high expectations, and if someone's been like working say 15 years, they're like going, I don't expect you to get me my lunch.
Yeah, so I've spoken to a lot of people. Like, when it first started happening to me, I was paranoid that it was just our agency, we were doing something wrong. But obviously, I've spoken to loads of other agency owners, but then I've also spoken to big companies. So I've spoken to people in like, I'm not probably not going to mention the names in case they get told off for like, but giant big companies, right? And I'm like, oh, I feel better. Like, these guys are struggling to hire for jobs, and it's obviously something wrong with the market, and people are demanding stuff with them. And so the feedback I get is that it's the younger ones who are coming in. They've got like maybe 6 months of experience, and they think they now deserve their 55 grand salary a year, because that's what they think they're worth. And they don't really understand it, and that's what they're demanding. And then they'll keep going around and be really confident, and one company will buy that because that's what they just do. And that's the thing, you'll just get, and then that company will then promote it. And there's that, who is that guy? Is it Dan Price from Gravity Payments? Do you know that guy? The CEO of Gravity Payments. He's the one that, and everyone loved his post.
Like everyone, he paid everyone say 70k.
Yeah, that's it. And the baseline salary is 70k a year for the lowest paid person. So that's like, all his stuff's obviously promoted everywhere, and like, obviously he's on LinkedIn. He's posting all these typical posts every day like that. Yeah, and everyone's sharing it, going, yeah, well, I expect 70 grand in my salary now. And I was like, you've just got your A levels, and you've only got like 2 of them. Like, so, and they're like, yeah, but I'm really passionate. Like, this is what I get as well. A lot of applications. So I had one, because we were trying to hire for web developers, and that's the most impossible position to hire for. I got one for the web developers the other day, and because we had like 3 jobs online, I checked to see if there'd been an admin assistant before. So I said, oh, are you applying for the admin role or the web developer role? And because I said, we've received it, but you don't seem to have any web developer experience. Like, oh, I am applying for the web developer role. Yes, I've not done it before, but I thought you could teach me on the job. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a position, and it says you probably need to have about 3 years experience. It's for like, it's a junior to mid. So obviously there is training on the job, but you do need to know how to code. Like, yeah, but I've got a great personality, and I'm so willing to learn. And I was like, okay, so if you're willing to learn, do you want to go away and learn how to code first, and then maybe reapply for the job? And they're just like, no, you won't know what you're missing with me in the office. Everyone will have a great time. Like, I'll bring up the morale of all the company, and then I'll learn things super quickly. And it was like, honestly, my eagerness, and this is what they'll say. And I'm just like, you've got 0 experience. And I was like, what? I don't understand. I was like, I am one that I've trained up juniors from scratch, you know? So I believe in training people, but that's ridiculous. And, you know, I just think it's bizarre.
I have this sense, Sabrina. I have this sense from you. Like, has there been, like, just between me and you, no one else, no one else, have you really wanted to jump across the table and just shake a person? Just like, I say, demons, be gone,
Honestly.
demons, be gone.
I'd like to just get in their heads and find out what, because I would never do that. Can you imagine, like, I don't know, I just like feel like, imagine that's the equivalent of us like pitching for a project and I don't know, going to like NASA and be like, oh, okay, so yeah, you know, we've got so many years of branding experience, so we can make your rocket look really pretty. But you know, I'm sure we could just give it a go at trying to get it to the moon too. You know, it's like, yeah. I'm really eager to learn. Give me a few hours on YouTube. I'm sure I could do it. But while that's happening, I've got great personality. I'll tell a few jokes in the office. Everyone at NASA will love me. And your rocket will look absolutely banging. Like, imagine I went into NASA and did that. That's what the equivalent is.
Like, yeah, which would be worse? Like, someone goes, okay, we'll give you a go. 5, 4, 3, 2. It's like, that was unexpected.
And like, you know, someone dies in the process, but like, doesn't it look pretty?
But this is the thing, like this, like you've got 10 years in business, like, you know what I mean? You've got that veteran side to you. And like, it's with what's coming, like with what's going on now, it just sounds mental because, like, okay, trust me, I've seen things in the sort of developing world, the developer world, where there are more jobs in that sort of realm than people to do them at this present time. But if you got people sort of walking around like going, yes, I can do this and everything like this, the standard of work is not going to be good. And basically, it's ultimately going to put many a business in jeopardy, you know?
That's exactly right. And I'm glad you pointed that out because people just don't get that. That is exactly what's happening. And I just consistently am, you know, working with projects that come to me and they like, that's actually how we became the No Bullshit Agency as well, is because the amount of clients come to me going, our last agency screwed us over. Like, they took all our money and they promised us this, and you know, this is what we got. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad, it's unbelievable. And they just get screwed over. And they're like, well, they told me this and this, and I was like, no, this is actually what it is. And you know, explain to them in normal terms. They go, well, how they described it just sounded so confusing, I didn't know, so that's why they charged me all this money for it. And I was like, yeah, no bullshit, that's why. It's like it. And unfortunately, out there are so many companies with now poor developers that they're just putting out bad work because, like you said, there's so many people, there's not enough jobs to fill the roles, so they're just having poor people do it, and it's just the quality's gone massively down.
My God, like it must be very difficult for someone like yourself, because I can only imagine it's when you hear the tales of woe for some of like your like past clients who are coming up to you now and going, right, does it make you angry or sad when you hear these stories?
Both. So I'm very sad for the client. I feel totally sorry for them because I feel like they've just been completely ripped off, and I'm angry at the agency who ripped them off. Like, you know, we take over so many people's sites and we see like previous like correspondence between them and what they quote for stuff that needs to be done, knowing that it only takes like a few minutes. I'll quote them like 10 hours for a job, and they're just pure dishonesty that goes into it is disgusting. And it makes me so angry that these people can get away with it, make money, rip people off, and actually be okay with it and actually be happy to do that for someone. Whereas, you know, I feel so sorry for the brand or the person who's been ripped off. So it's both, and it's horrible.
Wow. Like, final question. Like, I didn't even have time to go into your podcast, but like, you know what?
Yeah.
Yes. But like, this is the thing. Look, if there was one key thing you could change in the realm of your industry, what would that one key thing be?
probably what we just touched on, for people not to lie to everyone. I'm so sick of it. Honestly, everyone's just a liar. Like, do you know how many joint pitches I've done with agencies and they just straight up lie to the company? And I'm like, what the hell? And it's so awkward. So many times I've actually won the pitch and I refuse to work with them because I just can't deal with the dishonesty. I just think it's such, and it makes other people have a bad name. So much so that, for example, now we have a pro bono program. We offer people free work, creative help, and consultations to charities, for example, and people who need it the most. But loads of those charities think we're just trying to rip them off because other agencies have done that. They're like, oh yeah, it's pro bono, and then send them an invoice and then chase them up for it and stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm so sick of that. And I just think that people need to be nicer to people. We've just come out of a pandemic, and you can see the types of people in what they're like in a pandemic, because there were those people who helped everyone in a pandemic and did what they could to support, and those that took advantage and ripped them off as much as they could, because they were like, well, we suffered financially. I was like, so we're just gonna, and I was like, so you're just gonna rip off other people as well so they suffer? It's just so wrong. And you know, that's what I changed in our industry. I just want a little more honesty and transparency from everyone involved. Like, I just feel like there was so much, it's because obviously I'm in marketing, so that's what they do. But there's a fine line between marketing and bullshit. Basically, that's what the difference is. And I just want people to just be a little more honest so that we know what's actually the truth. And, you know, companies just stop getting ripped off. That's what I think.
Oh, superb. You, my friend, you like my friend who cannot remember films, but yes, definitely gonna have to get you drunk in a pub sometime watching like a Liverpool game. Yeah.
No, that's not a pleasant experience unless we're winning. You'll
like
not very.
Trust me,
start slagging off like every player.
Yeah, I know the psychological pain you go through. Yeah, it's like, trust me. It's like, rage. No. Sabrina, can you tell the lovely people how they can find you out there on these interwebs?
Pretty much everywhere. Like, I am on social media. So I'm at SabCC on Instagram. I'm at Chevannes on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. As you said, I've got a new podcast. So if you want to hear more rants, then my podcast is called No Bullshit Talks. Funny enough, like, it's right on brand. So again, just frank, honest conversations, and so you can find me there too.
Outstanding. I will put all of the information into the show notes, the descriptions. Yes, go find this young lady out there. Yes, don't talk about movie trivia, or like if you are going to a competition.
Movie trivia is not bad, actually, weirdly enough. I just don't remember like all the other details in it, but I remember like who Kaiser Soze is, for example. Like, I remember the chemo's moments, but I don't remember like, and I'm good with actors, and I seem to remember, like, I could probably like reel off someone's IMDb profile, but won't be able to tell you the plot of the movie. So weird. Like, it's really weird. I don't even start.
Do not play this girl at chess or Trivial Pursuit. She's just a hustler. That's what she is. Like, she doesn't hustle her business like business partners, but no, like all games, anything like that. She's a hustler. I see. Yeah, I like to say. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a joy. It has been a pleasure, to say the least. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors out there, for sticking with us up until this point. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. See you soon. Yes. Peace. And we are